Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Mind Mysteries Podcast, episode number 1. My name is Phoenix, and I am a mentalist and brain trainer from Aguada, Puerto Rico. And this podcast is for busy people who want to learn faster and discover the amazing things your brain can do for you. And I want to start off by giving you a brain challenge. Today in the 21st century, I believe that the number one skill that you have to learn is the ability to learn faster, because we are in the knowledge era. We are getting paid more and more by what we know rather than what we do. So I want to start things off by giving you a little brain challenge, okay? So I want to know how well you're able to retain information in your mind, and I want to try a really fun exercise to see your baseline. And then at the end of this episode, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can instantly double your memory. Okay, so I hope that you're excited, and I want you to get rid of all distractions, okay? If you're driving, if you can't really fully focus and be right here in the present, maybe listen to this later. But for the little moment that I have you, I want you to fully engage with me, because I'm going to test you, and I need to get a baseline to see how well you are with your memory now, because later we're going to compare your memory and you are going to astonish yourself with how much better you just got by just using one technique. And that's what we want to do here in this podcast. I want to share with you techniques and strategies to improve your memory, improve your creativity, and your productivity so that you can get more stuff done. I'm also going to share astonishing stories, people who have been able to do just incredible stuff that you wouldn't even believe, and break down how they were able to accomplish this. This is stories from people who are able to learn languages faster, people who are able to memorize entire books, and people who are able to even hypnotize themselves to be more productive and just achieve incredible things. So I'm very excited. Are you excited, and are you ready for this first brain challenge? Good. Today's brain challenge is to see how much information you can retain in your brain, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple of words, and I'm only going to give you a couple of seconds for you to memorize it. Don't feel bad if you're not able to memorize most of these words, because later I'm going to show you how to memorize all of them so easily. You're going to astonish yourself. Okay, so at the count of 3, I want you fully focused, fully present, and ready to memorize as many words as you can. Okay, so we've delayed long enough. Take a deep breath in for 2 seconds. Good, and out through your mouth. All right, so let's get started and really engage with me, okay? This is not a podcast where you just sit back and listen. This is a podcast where you engage and you actually learn, okay? So let's begin at the count of 3. Here we go. I'm going to throw some words at you. Don't write anything down. Don't re-listen. No cheating, okay? You'll only be cheating yourself. So let's begin. 1, 2, drum roll please. 3, let's begin. The first word that I want you to memorize is gun. And now I want you to memorize shoe, as in walking, shoe. Now I want you to memorize tree. And I want you to memorize a door. And now I want you to memorize a star, like a shooting star out in space. Very good. Now I want you to memorize sticks, like a part of a tree, little sticks. And now I want you to memorize a rainbow. And now I want you to memorize an octopus. You got it? Followed by a cat. Does your brain hurt yet? Next, I want you to memorize a pen, followed by heaven. And now I want you to memorize eggs, followed by a witch. Okay, I know that I'm talking over while you're trying to memorize all these things. It makes it difficult, but that's the real world. When you're trying to memorize a language, when you're trying to memorize anything, there's always distractions, right? So we gotta learn how to overcome all of that. So anyway, the next one is gold, followed by money. Let me wait here a couple of seconds, give you some time. How are we doing? Followed by candles. And now I want you to memorize a woodpecker, followed by a truck. And don't worry, we're almost done. 2 more words. Now I want you to memorize golf, and finally, fingers and toes. That's it. Do you want more words, or should we leave it there? Let's leave it there. Let's see how well you did with your memory. So this is what I'm going to do now, okay? I'm going to play a little song here, and while you're listening to this song, I want you to write down on a piece of paper or on your phone, just open up a tab of your notes, and I want you to write down all the words that you were able to remember. But here's the catch. They have to be in the exact order that I gave them to you. That means that if you remember the word that I gave you, but you do not remember the order in which I gave it to you, it's wrong. Okay? It does you no good, right? If you're able to memorize numbers from a telephone, but you don't know the order on which the numbers fall on, same thing. So the right word in the right order. I know that's tricky. I know it's frustrating, but believe me, by the end of this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how you're able to very easily memorize all of these words and much more. Okay, so let's cue up the music and write down as many words as you're able to remember. Let's begin. All right. How many words were you able to memorize? Did you get 1, 2? It's okay. You could be honest with me. Doesn't matter how bad you did in this test, because as your brain trainer, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to teach you how to easily remember all of these words. And later, you can even try this with your friends, okay? You can share it with them. It's really fun. So are you ready? So this is what I need you to do. Fully focus. I'm going to walk you through how I would do this. So the big secret to memory is not in memory, but in your ability to construct pictures in your mind. If you don't have a way to associate information, whether it be, you're learning French or German or Spanish, whatever it is, any topic, any skill, if you don't have a way to associate it and create a picture of this in your mind, you're gonna forget it. So now block out all distractions and try to do this with me, okay? By the end of it, you're gonna astonish yourself. So let's begin. Alrighty, the first word that I gave you was number 1, and I said it was a gun. So I want you to associate the number with the word that I'm giving you, okay? So what I want you to do is that I want you to be a child again, and you're going to imagine all these crazy stories with me, and you're going to imagine all these associations with me. This brain technique is called basic association. Okay, there's way more advanced ones, but this is episode 1. We're just starting with the basics, okay? So what I want you to do is that I want you to visualize this with me. I want you to make this association. 1 rhymes with a gun, right? So that's super easy. One of the best associations that you can use is music and rhyme. Okay, so that first one I want you to say one gun out loud. Go ahead, say it out loud and participate, okay? Because I'm going to test you. I'm going to test you at the end, and we need you to improve, okay? So say it out loud. One gun. Good. And just imagine that you have one gun in your pocket, right? You can also imagine that you pull out the gun and you're shooting. Whatever, the crazier, the better, okay? Now let's go on with the second one. The second one is a shoe, right? So how many shoes do you need to walk, right? You just need 2, and it rhymes with shoe. So that's very easy. One gun, 2 shoe. So I'm using a lot of auditory associations, and that's all you need right now. Let's go with the third one. The third one is a tree. Okay, so what rhymes with 3? A tree. Okay, so that one's very, very easy. And you must be thinking, Phoenix, did you premeditate this list so it's extra easy for me? Yes, I did. But I did it also to demonstrate this technique of basic association. Don't you worry, I'm going to do very unpredictable, unplanned lists later. But for now, for the sake of explaining this technique, yes, this is a premeditated list to show you how to associate things, okay? So I like to imagine that I'm running with a chainsaw and I'm cutting down 3 trees. You see what I did there? 3 tree, and I'm visualizing that I'm cutting all these trees, because using just auditory associations is not enough. It's too easy. Your brain gets bored. You need multiple anchors of associations. Some of them are going to be visual, some of them are going to be auditory, some of them are going to be kinesthetic. Many different ways to associate things. So I want you to say out loud those 3, okay? 1 gun, 2 shoe, 3 tree. Say that out loud, okay? Because I'm going to test you. Go ahead. Excellent. Now let's go with the next one. The 4th word that I gave you was door. So 4 and door, that sounds very similar, but it's not enough, okay? So also make some visual associations, right? So the corners of the doors, there's 4 corners, right? So just imagine that you're opening the door and you're yelling out loud, 4. 4 is door because it has 4 corners. We got that? Good. Now let's try the next one. It's a little bit trickier, but not really. Number 5, I said that I wanted you to memorize a star. 5 and star, it doesn't sound the same, right? It doesn't have the same rhythm to it. So you need to find a way to stretch your creative muscles and find a different way to associate this, or you're going to forget it. So what can you picture? What can you associate with the number 5 and a star? I'll let you think for a moment. What can you combine? What 2 stories, what 2 images can you combine to help remind you that 5 is a star? So I'll give you a little bit of help here. What if you thought of 5-star hotel, 5-star restaurant, right? Or if you were to draw a star, it has 5 pointy ends, right? So visualize that. Burn that into your memory, because I will ask you later. Okay, you got it? The star? Fantastic. Let's move on to number 6 now. Number 6 was sticks, okay? So all that I want you to do, because it's too easy, right? 6 sticks, right? When I ask you again, you need to make an image with that 6. Grab that 6 with your hands and rip it apart, and it turns into 6 sticks, and then you throw it to 6 people, okay? So visualize that and rip out the 6. Say, I'm not going to forget 6. You rip it apart, you have 6 sticks, and you throw it, and you poke the eye of 6 people, okay? I know that's a little violent, but the wackier, the funny, the more outrageous your story is, the better you're going to be able to remember it, okay? So 6 is sticks and 5 was a star, correct? Okay, now let's move on to number 7. Number 7 was a rainbow. how the heck are we going to associate that, right? Think about it. 7 and rainbow. What association can you make with that? Right, the 7 colors of the rainbow. So you really need to picture that in your mind's eye. 7 rainbow. Really take a moment and look. If I'm going too fast here, feel free to pause the podcast for a moment and let that image burn into your mind, okay? All right, so let's go with the next one now. The next word that I gave you was number 8 on octopus. So what association can you do with octopus and number 8? I'll give you a moment to think about it. So maybe we can use the 8 tentacles of the octopus, right? That's a good image. So I want you to burn that into your mind. Number 8, when I ask you later, you're going to imagine the 8 tentacles of the octopus and say that out loud. Okay? You got it? Good. Okay, so the next word that I gave you was cat on number 9. So this one's pretty easy, right? The 9 lives of the cat. So I'm going to visualize that I am counting all the 9 different ways that the cat is dying, okay? And you don't have to use like my violent images. Use what works best for you, but that's the images that get me to not forget them. So 9 for cat because of the 9 lives. Take a moment and really visualize that, because even if you say, oh yeah, 9 lives of a cat, that's easy. Even if you say that, later on when I ask you, you might still forget it because you didn't really see it in your mind's eye. You didn't really create that little story. So take a moment and really count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and see all the different ways that that cat is living or dying, whatever image you want to put, okay? All right, the next word that I gave you was pen. Okay, so pen rhymes with 10. So all that you have to do is visualize yourself picking up 10 different pens. Maybe they have different colors, and you're testing them all. And you're like, wow, I got a gift of these 10 different pens, and look at all the beautiful colors that they have. So that's the image. 10, pen, and 9 was a cat. Excellent. Let's go with the next one. The next word that I gave you was heaven, and it rhymes with 11. 11, heaven. Now that's not enough, so really visualize the number 11 descending down from the heavens. Or maybe you can think of the celestial number 1111, right? That's a good association. So whatever works for you, just visualize that. 11, heaven is descending down from the skies. You got it? Good. You're halfway there. Now the next word that I gave you was eggs, okay? Eggs. So that number was 12. So that one's very easy because all that you have to do is visualize a dozen eggs. And once again, make sure that your story is crazy. So pick up those dozen eggs. So the next time that I ask you, what was number 12? You're going to pick up those 12 eggs and you're going to juggle them in your mind, okay? So you're juggling those eggs, right? That's number 12. Right, so the next word that I gave you was a witch, okay? And that was for number 13. So maybe you can imagine the unlucky number 13, Friday the 13th. I'm sure you've heard of it, right? And you think of something scary, something spooky. You think about the witch, okay? Witch for number 13. And again, if I'm going too fast, it's okay to pause this for just a few moments so that you can really see that image into your mind. However, you will be surprised with how quickly you can memorize things if you're following along with me, and you don't really need to pause these things for too much. Your brain is retaining this stuff. So let's keep going. The next word that I gave you was gold. So what association can we use for gold and the number 14? Take a moment and think about that. So maybe you thought about 14 karat gold, right? That's a great association. So just imagine that You have 14 pieces of gold, and they are all around your body, and they are all 14 karat. Okay? Burn that image into your mind. You got it? Good. What was the one before? Number 13. What was scary? The witch. Okay, see the witch. Maybe see 13 witches and they're brewing something. 13 witch. And then number 12, you were juggling a dozen what? Eggs. Right. So let's move on now to number 15. The word that I gave you was money. So this is a trickier one. What can you associate with money and number 15? So for me, there's a lot of different associations that you can use. One of them is that a lot of people get paid bi-weekly, so they tend to collect their check the 15th. If you don't like that association, maybe you can visualize the money sign. You know how it looks like a little S, and then there's a line in between it, right, to represent the money. Cha-ching. So that looks like a 15 to me, right? Maybe you can use that association. Whichever you want to go with, take a moment and do that now. Visualize that. Money, 15. See the sign. You're getting paid the 15th. Maybe you have $15 in your pocket. So the next time that I ask you, what was number 15? You got it. Money. Okay, so now let's go with the next word that I gave you, and we're almost at the end. Hang in there. The next word that I gave you was candles for number 16. So what can you visualize with 16 and candles? Well, a couple of years ago, there was a movie called 16 Candles. Maybe you can visualize that. I remember that many years ago, there used to be a show called My Sweet 16 or something like that. So maybe you can visualize that. The point is that when you hear that number again, 16, you're not going to be able to help but think of 16 candles. You got it? Good. Let's go with the next one. The next one is woodpecker. And I gave you that word a number 17. So that's a tricky one. You know, maybe you can see 17 woodpeckers on a tree. Maybe if you really have a wild imagination, you can visualize that the number 1 represents a tree, and then you can visualize the number 7 as the woodpecker, because you know how the 7 has like this beak protruding on the outside? I know it's hard to visualize, but that's what I see when I think of 17. So 17 is woodpecker. Don't let that one trick you, okay? Pause if you need to, create your own association if you need to, but you are going to get more words than you did the first time around, okay? Alrighty, pause if you need to. Now let's keep going. The next word that I gave you was truck. Truck for number 18. What can you visualize? What can you possibly associate with 18 and a truck? So maybe, just maybe, you've heard of the 18-wheeler, right? Those really big trucks, they have 18 wheels. So what you're going to do is that you're not just going to say, oh, okay, 18 truck, 18 wheels, got it. No. You have to create the story in your mind. It's the story that's going to anchor everything. So I'm going to visualize an accident. This truck is crashing on the side of the road and it's exploding. And I see 18 wheels flying all over me. That crazy story is what's going to help me memorize this. So take a moment and see that. You got it? Good. Let's go with the next one. 19 is golf. For those of you that don't know, golf, in the game of golf, there's 18 holes. And usually people refer the 19th hole as the place where they gather after they've had a game. Okay, that's the 19th hole. See you at the 19th hole. So that's what I want you to visualize. 19 and golf. Pause if you need to. See that image. And we're almost there. We're almost at the end. So the last word is fingers and toes, because you have 10 fingers and you have 10 toes. and you're telling yourself, the last one, number 20, is fingers and toes because I have 10 fingers and 10 toes. Very quick review. What was number 19? All these little holes? Golf, right. And 18, what exploded and all the wheels were flying everywhere? That was a truck, exactly. And number 17 was the woodpecker. Just see a lot of birds, okay? The woodpecker is number 17. Got it? And then 16 is candles. Alrighty, you've made it to the end. So now we want to test how many words you were able to memorize. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to pause, okay? I want you to pause this podcast, and I want you to write down all the words that you were able to remember this second time around. And then we're going to compare. We're going to see the first time that you did it without training your brain. And then we're going to compare it with the second time you did it when you started applying the basic association technique. Okay? So at the count of 3, pause and write down as many words as you're able. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Write down how many words you were able to remember now. And welcome back. How did we do the second time around? How cool is that, right? If you did this right and you follow along, then that means that you did much, much better the second time around. I'll very quickly go through the words. So 1 was gun, 2, shoe, 3, tree, 4, door. And then number 5, what was number 5? A star, exactly. And then number 6, what were you throwing to 6 people? The sticks, exactly. And then what was very colorful in the sky? The rainbow, excellent. And then number 8, what had 8 legs? The octopus, right. And then who had 9 lives? The cat, excellent. And what rhymes with 10? And what were you writing with? The pen, right? And then number 11 was descending down from where? From heaven, right. And then you had a dozen what? What were you juggling? The eggs, excellent. And then 13, unlucky 13, you were looking at a witch, exactly. And then 14, you had 14 what? What was very valuable on your neck? Gold, 14 karat gold. And then you get paid what on the 15th? Money, exactly. And then you had a cake with 16 what? Candles, right. And then 17, this was a tricky one. What was pecking at the tree? The woodpecker. And then this huge what exploded and all the wheels started flying everywhere? The truck, right. And then holes. What has a lot of holes? Golf. And finally, fingers and toes. Alrighty, so you made it to the end. I think that you did fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me in this first episode. And by the way, if you like the podcast, make sure that you subscribe and share it with your friends. Also, if you want to get serious about improving your memory, whether you want to learn a language faster or you want to learn a new skill faster, consider checking out my books and programs. I will leave down the link below. And once again, thank you so much for joining me in Mind Mysteries.